So,
Hi. Yeah.
hi. So, I just wanted to ask you about your movie, your number one movie on Tubi,
Yeah.
actually. Amazing. So tell me, what is the name of the movie for everyone to know, and what is it about?
It's called Fatally Flawless, and it's an urban tale set in the '90s in Philly, the late '90s between '97 and '98, and it's like a Mean Girls and Clueless meets like Belly or something.
So I love Belly. I love Clueless. So it's a great fusion. So you did a partnership with Dame Dash Studios on this.
Yes.
Tell me about that. How did that come about?
It came about through I actually made the movie. I shot the movie like late 20 um 18 into 19, like going into the pandemic, and
Hmm.
then did a movie release, and then everything got shut down, as you know, in 2020. So we kind of were at a standstill, and I had this great project, and I had some things lined up, but everything, as you know, got shut down, and we all was in the house. So, so that was like really traumatic. And Nikki Turner, are you familiar with Nikki Turner, the writer?
No, is she a urban writer?
Yeah, she's a best-selling author. She has this one of her number one book is called A Hustler's Wife, and it's
Oh, wait a minute. I think I do know that series. It's like a whole series of it, right?
yes, she's like in
Yes.
a vein of like Omar Tyree or um was True to the Game. Our girl that wrote True to I can't think of her name right now. Terry Woods.
Yes. I
Yes,
think I'm familiar with that series. I think my mom was buying those books and I read them a while ago. So yes, I do believe so.
yeah, she's
So
in that class of writer. So yeah, so she's a real good friend of mine, and me and her, I was telling her I had this film, and because of what happened, I had lost the deal, and I didn't know what I was going to do as far as like distribution and getting it out there. And she said, "Well, I'm friends with this guy named Lucas, who had a film on Dame Dash through Dame Dash Studios." And he connected me with Omar, who was Dame Dash's president of acquisition, and I sent him the film, and he loved the film. And they're in a partnership with Homestead Studios, who is out of Detroit, and they're doing like if you look on Tubi, they have like this huge urban title section with all these urban films. A lot of them are from Detroit, like
oh
that. So they got its distribution, and we debuted it in late September, and it is just taking off like wildfire, and it is doing amazing. It's like one of the number one films on Tubi, and the numbers are growing, and it's just like a cult follow. Oh, look at the cat!
yes, I know she made an appearance really fast.
So cute. I love cats.
Yes.
Yeah, and
So yeah.
so it just kind of took off once we got it on Homestead. I mean, through Tubi, it's just like, I mean, the demographics is everywhere. I was thinking I'm from Philly, so I was thinking it's just going to be like an East Coast thing, but it's in the Midwest, cities like
Mhm.
Chicago, St. Louis, Detroit, Houston, Texas is a big market that they're watching it in. Arkansas, Raleigh, North Carolina. So it's just like all over now.
That's dope. Like that's amazing. And that's your first film. So is it your first? Okay, so that's amazing. It's already like blowing up. So tell me about, oh my goodness, my cat. Tell me about your fashion career because I know you do a multitude of things.
Well, I started out with the dream of being a fashion stylist and designer, and I did accomplish those things in a way. I had a line, an urban line in Philly called Belargo, and I was in a partnership with a young lady named Tiffany Williams for many years.
Mhm.
And we dressed Meek Mill. We had dressed the late John Singleton. We dressed PNB Rock, the late PNB Rock, the rapper from Philly that was murdered. And we did all of his early music videos, and we styled him for concerts and stuff for a while. I was on the road with him at one point. as well as working with a stylist named Joe Exclusive in LA, who's a very good friend of mine. And I was one of his assistants, and I worked with him on shoots with Lisa Ray, Elise Neal, Lala Anthony, Keisha Cole. Who am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anybody? No, it was quite a few that we did Malika and Khadijah Hawk from Keeping Up with the Kardashians in Atlanta, Farrah. We worked with just a multitude of just different people at one point in time. Dancing with the Stars, Maya, when she was on Dancing with the Stars. So, we were moving and shaking, and I lived in LA for 3 years, and did the whole grind out there. LA's a whole nother grind. I don't know where you're at, but
I'm in New York, so I'm very familiar that LA is very, very grueling sometimes.
It's not like New York, to where how you can get to everywhere by train, or you can get to everywhere in an Uber. Like, you have to have a car in LA, and it's just very vast. So I came back home and I started writing and putting some things together, and that's when I came up with Fatally Flawless and putting that concept together.
So is your first love, would you say, fashion or writing, telling
Both.
stories?
Both. Because I just like fashion in my real life. Like, even in my just personal life, I like very high-end clothing. I'm a little dressed down now, but I love, I shop a lot. I buy a lot of, Gucci, Hermes, Givenchy, Prada. I love all of it. Dior, Mason Margiela. Like, I just go crazy. Like, some people want to drink and some people want to do drugs. I want to go to the mall, or just let me order online and just wait for these packages to come.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually pretty safe. It's a safe addiction unless you go overboard with it.
I have at different times. But I would say creating and writing is definitely a passion for me. It's definitely an outlet. It's definitely something I live to do, and it's easy to me. I've always came up with my own stories since I was a kid, and I used to, if I didn't like the ending to something like a movie, I would like write a whole nother ending the way I thought it should end.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so creating and writing it's come naturally to me. It's something I definitely like doing, and getting on the film side of things was challenging, but it was a challenge I was up for, and I felt like we did a great job, and now I know the ins and out of that world.
That's dope. I mean, you've accomplished so much so far. You work with amazing people. Now you have this film, so it seems like both lanes you pretty much did very well in my opinion. So
thank you.
Dope.
Yeah, I did. I feel like it's jack of all trades, but a master of some. You know how they say master. I'm a master. But I just love entertaining. Period. I love entertainment. I love glitz and glamour. I've always liked the industry and celebrity. I've always been obsessed with those kind of things.
So I wanted to get a little bit more into the movie, Fatally Flawless. So would you say that you've experienced these things in Philly when you were growing up? Like, as far as like, not the whole story, of course, but just some of the details behind the story.
I would say I was an observer. This story is like based on things that I saw from people who I were around at that time in my life, and friends of mine. I went to Overbrook High School in Philly. That's where Will Smith went to high school. Will Chamberlain went here. Was some famous alumni, and it was a fast school. If you're from Philly, it's either 3 high schools that are really known. Like, you have Overbrook for West Philly, University City High School. Then you have Germantown, and I would say Gratz. But Overbrook was like the fashion high school. It was, a lot of fast young adults, pre-teenagers, we lived a little beyond our means at that time. Like we dressed, and we grew up in the glittery age of hip hop. So, that's when you had like the Biggies, the Little Kims, Jay-Z, Foxy Brown, just the things that they talked about. It was very, very mature, and, we wanted to appear older. We wanted to wear things that were expensive. So, you did whatever you had to do. And I knew a lot of girls that dated drug dealers or dated guys in the street, or, came from parents that might have been on drugs, or on alcohol. So they had kind of a lot of free reign to do what they wanted to do and indulge in things that they shouldn't have been indulging in. And I knew the guys that were in the streets. I had family members that lived in that lifestyle, and guys from my neighborhood. So I just kind of just took like bits and pieces of what I saw and experienced firsthand, and I just weaved it into my own tale and my own story.
That's dope. I mean, it's more real that way when it comes from a real situation or situations. It comes across way more, I hate to say it, but entertaining, even though sometimes it comes from pain and comes from, things that people struggle with living in the inner cities as well. So, yeah.
And more authentic, it comes off more authentic. Because I had, been privy to conversations where I've had friends that was dealing with abusive guys, or, dealing with abusive boyfriends, or manipulative, emotionally abusive boyfriends, or, guys that was making them hold drugs, or, they were holding guns for guys, or, they themselves were, in, situations where they could have went to jail.
Of course.
Dealing with those guys. So it was a cautionary tale. Like, it looks like the glitz and the glamour, and it looks like, everything is, they have all these, this money, they have access to the material things, which, most girls in the, the hood want, but it's like, it comes with a price. Yeah, that's basically, I wanted to let everybody know it does come with a price. It seems like this is what you want, and it seems like, oh wow, this guy's going to take care of me, or he's going to, put me up in a place that but it's like, at what, what the repercussions of that could be huge. So it's kind of like, I wanted to show the girls, a lot of young ladies, that this is, it's not what you want, even though it appears like it's glamorous. And we don't usually see urban films with a female, and I think that's why the movie does so well. And I think it's doing so well because it's from the girl's point of view. It's not like the girls are just in the background, because you see a lot of these urban dramas. I don't know if you watch a lot of the shows, but they like about the guys, and you see the girls as such objects. You just see the girls just doing whatever in the background, strip club or whatever. But my film is like told from the girl's point of view, how they see the guys, how they see the life, how they see their experiences, from their parents to friendships with each other, to dealing with boyfriends, being pressured into sex, doing things that they wouldn't normally do. But it's like told from their point of view. And I think that's why the film is doing as well as it's doing, personally.
Well, that's amazing. I'm very happy for you. And I definitely see much more to come from you. So do you have any like future plans, like near future plans?
Well, right now, what we want to do is a series, and go back to Tubi, and it's called The Diary. Dear Summer, The Diary of Fatally Flawless, and it's going to be the events happening the summer before the film. So the film starts in September of 1998. It would be September of 97. So it would be the summer of 7. So between April, June of 97, and the events leading up to the film.
That's dope. That's really, really dope.
We're working on that now. Just trying to secure the financing. Because the money part is the most important part of the business. Nothing happens until you had a budget. So we have some financiers that's interested, and we're negotiating with, and we want to shoot it in late March of 23, like March, probably from March to June.
That's dope. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, so
That's
that's
gonna be really fire because you're going backwards. Most people go forward, but you're going backwards.
yeah. I want to go backwards to because I'm not going to be honest with you. People love the nostalgia, and that's what kind of is making the project work. Is that people love the '90s part of it because a lot of people who might be late 30s to in their 40s, or older than that, they remember that time. So they like, oh wow, it took me back. It felt like the good old days, or I remember the fashion. And then the 20 somethings um that weren't around at that point, they can be like, oh, that's what was happening, or they feel like they're getting a sneak peek into what was happening in their world and what
The
was happening
lifestyle.
pre-Instagram and pre-Twitter and landlines and the big cell phones and just the pagers, just those things that was happening. They're like, oh, this is so foreign to me. you know
Well, we need more of this. We definitely need more authentic stories. That's, I feel, what the film industry is missing, from losing a great director such as John Singleton,
yes.
who told authentic stories. We need to go back to that.
And I think we need to tell more urban stories from women's point of views because I'm all about feminism and women's rights and all about women being held to a certain standard because I just like a lot of times, like I just said, like I'll sit back and I watch certain things and you just see the girls being a stripper or just a prostitute or just some bird brain that they just have, you know just disrespecting on camera. And I just was like, I didn't want to tell a story like that. I wanted to tell a story with women as full dimensional characters, free thinking, powerful in their own right, women just taking charge and deciding their own destinies. And I feel like, in Fatally Flawless, like that, we do show that like at the end, girl kind of comes into her own, even if the decision was bad, but they take their power back. And I think that's what I wanted to get across.
That's important because we don't see that, at all when it comes to like urban stories. So I really feel like that's important as well. We have a lot of books like that, but we don't have a lot of film like that. So
And right now we have this whole Black genre before we wrap up on Tubi. And Tubi is doing amazing. And they pay content creators. You get paid for your work. And you have so much diversity of storytelling from the Midwest to the South, East Coast, and it's just so many different perspectives. So if a Black person is from New Orleans and they watch my film, they would be like, okay, this is what Philly looks like. This is what life is like for Philly and Philly for Black people. And somebody from New York or Philly could watch a content creator from Detroit or a content creator from Kansas City, and you'd be like, oh, this is what they're doing over there.
I love it. We need more representation from all different parts. And hopefully we can see all across the world because there's hoods everywhere. So I want to see all across the world.
Because we got to do something. We got to keep it together. You see, Kanye is over here acting crazy, so we got to hold it down. Because it's like seeing all this happening with him. I'm just like, wow. We have to, as a people, come together and be artistic and strong and diligent and just hold each other down because I think enough of that is not happening.
I think we do need to come together more and be a collective and really
Yeah.
support each other. That's important. We're missing that. And, everybody is kind of like divided and wherever you're from or whatever your culture is. And I feel like as, Black and brown, we need to come together. We really do.
Yes, because this the other communities are, and you see when they stick together with our people bags, we don't have the power to do that. But if we, because I said this way, not to get on to something else, but the same way they're saying Adidas and Balenciaga and Gap and all these people are saying we're not selling Kanye West stuff. Can you imagine if all of us, Black and brown people said we're not buying those brands because of what they're doing? Can you imagine how the pushback would be?
It's gonna be something, you know. I think the comments that I've been seeing is if the sneakers or whatever, you know, doesn't say Yeezy, I don't want it. Like I don't want it. And a lot of people are saying they don't want something that doesn't reflect the Yeezy name because that was the reason why they purchased it in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And this we just living in a very, very turbulent society right now.
Well, I hope we could bring it back somehow and come together more and really support each other. I really hope we can see the bright side and try to work together more.
Yeah, no, I really totally agree. I totally agree.
Well, Khalil, it was amazing speaking with you. I really, really appreciate you and your time. And I definitely want to stay updated with you. And hopefully, in the future, when you have your future projects, I can interview you again and, you know, really, really talk about these things that need to be talked about.
Yes, this has been a very enlightening, great conversation, and yes, I definitely hope we get to speak and do another interview.
Thank you, Khalil. Enjoy the rest of your day.